Hi guys, welcome back to the Ratchet Christian. You already know what I'm gonna say. I'm so excited. First of all, check out the atmosphere, check out the ambiance. Okay, that's one. And two is we have two special guests with us today. I'm so excited. I love hanging out with these guys, and so I'm married to one of them, so that does help. But yeah, I love hanging out with them and talking to them, and so I'm grateful that they decided to come and hang out with us on the podcast today. Um, Bringing back my husband, babe. Uh, I'm nervous.
What you mean? What you
I'm
mean?
so nervous. Okay, so the episode that I have on the podcast that has done the best has been the episode with my husband. And so
Oh.
you are back by popular demand.
Yeah.
Y'all give it up for my husband, Osamu. Woo! Bam, 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 bam.
Oh, you want all that?
Yeah, can I have a little horn, just a little jazz snap?
I was like, you got
crackle
those
pop
little
for my
buns over
boo?
there. Can you-
Oh, okay.
It's never too late. Look
Well,
at
you know what I'm
that.
saying?
That's
Happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? I'm an expert now. This is my
Yeah.
second podcast.
The second podcast. So you're a professional yapper like me. And second and last but not least, we have friend of the show, Rami. Woo! Bow, 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 bow. Rami is one of my husband's best friends. He's also the president of Yemen. He is he's the minister of defense there. He is the advisor to the Security Council. I think you run a branch of the UN as well.
Secretary.
There's
of,
nothing that he does not. I missed something, right?
Secretary of the Interior.
of the Interior and the Defense and the Cabinet.
Yes.
There's nothing that Rami does not do.
And the money will be in Western Union very quick.
There we go. Exactly. He also owns Western Union. So again, there's nothing that he doesn't do. He has a very tight schedule, and we're lucky to have him here with us today. Guys, I'm excited that you're here. I want to talk about some sporty stuff. That's why I wore a hat.
Mhm.
That's why I wore a hat. And I know that this topic is I know it's a little hacky. A lot of people have been talking about it, but it's like, how can you not? I'm not even a sports person, but there has been so much drama unfolding in the sports world that I feel like, okay, I'm having guys on the pod. I have somebody I can talk to this about. Like, I know nothing about sports, but I know enough to know that Shannon Sharpe is a freaky uncle. Does that cover it?
I mean, you know, to be fair, you know, I'm not a big sports person either.
Thank God, by the way.
but-
I'm happy you're not a sports guy. I hate is a strong word, but I can't imagine you dragging me off to a game or anything like that. It's not my cup of tea.
You know, it's like as a guy, you got to just know how to like talk to other men about sports, even if you don't
How
watch
do you
sports.
do that if you don't like sports?
I
Because
don't
I
know.
know
Well-
Rami likes sports. So it's like, do y'all talk about sports although you don't watch
we
sports?
do, because I talk about stuff he doesn't care about.
Okay.
You know,
Like,
so
what do you
I'm saying,
mean?
like I talk about TV shows and stuff. Rami doesn't care about none of that. Though
Yeah.
we converge on like YouTube things.
Okay.
When it comes to just TV stuff,
Yeah.
he only watches sports.
Really?
Only sports. He doesn't
What's
watch
your
no
favorite
TV.
sport to watch?
He's wearing a freaking hockey shirt right now.
Yeah, but I got to represent. But that's, basketball, football.
But basketball's probably his favorite.
I'm like, which sport can I tolerate to watch? Basketball is fun to watch in person.
Mhm.
I feel like I can follow it more, but when it comes to football, I have no idea what's going on, and it takes a really long time too. I'll be ready to go.
Football, to me, the pacing is a little slower.
It is a little slow.
The pacing of football is slower.
Yeah.
But,
Basketball is definitely instant gratification.
It is
Yeah.
because
Points-
you
the
know
points
what
are just-
happens.
it's just back.
like
It's just bound.
the ball
bound,
winning,
bound.
amazing. You know, not to like sound like the pick me girl on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I really just don't know. But what I do know is that a lot of attention this week has been cast on the sports world because like the players are larger than life.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharpe being one of them. And so are you familiar? I mean, you have to live under a rock to not know what's going on with him and a OnlyFans model by the name of Gabby Zuniga or something like that. Okay, so let me, Dr. Umar had a lot to say about it. So let's watch this first Dr. Umar clip and then we'll get into
Let me
it.
see this clip.
First of all, Art, she wanted a baby out of Shannon because for a snow bunny dating a wealthy black man, a baby is financial insurance. For a snow bunny dating a successful black man, the mixed race baby, the big black baby, is my financial insurance. She thought Shannon Sharpe was into her until The infamous Instagram Live scandal. You remember that? When Shannon Sharpe was caught on tape banging out a snow bunny on Instagram Live. He claimed he didn't put the Instagram Live on. We will never know the story, but that ain't the point. The point, Art, is she was looking for a baby until Shannon cheated on her with the Instagram Live scandal. Everything changed after the Instagram Live, Art. Everything changed. She went from wanting to be a baby mama to being an extortionist. Because after that, it became all about the money.
Dr. Umar has spoken. Your thoughts. Your thoughts. The floor is yours, gentlemen. She's not underage, so it's very slippery, right? Because she's not underage.
She was 19, I think, when it happened.
Yeah, she's an adult.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's kind of like, where is the crime? In a way, where she's alleging that, she was manipulated and assaulted allegedly. And then he came out with the receipts of like, no, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Like, we're freaks.
Yeah.
You asked me to choke you. You said you want my baby gravy. Like, you said all of this. So he was like, if you're going to try to, embarrass me, I'm going to embarrass you.
Yeah.
If you were Shannon Sharpe in that situation, what would you have done? Snow Bunny, you're banging a white girl. She comes to you like, look, if you don't give me 10 million, 50 million, I'm going to say that you did something wrong to me.
I mean, the reality is like Shannon, he at first I thought he was like, oh, okay, he's on to something because he did what no one does. He went and directly addressed it with his fans and just like everybody. Like he made that video and was just like, somebody's they're coming out saying all these things is not true. Because the only people who do that are people who have their own platform.
Yeah, he sat down with those tight pants on and was
He
like,
sure
look,
did.
if we gonna talk about
Look. It's false. I ain't do it. But
He said put out the whole tape.
Yeah, put out the whole tape. He said it was a doctored tape. But the way that he said it though is like there's things in there that would make me look really bad and it was doctored. It's like, you're a freak, dude. The fact that, this is your second sex scandal within the year.
Yeah.
Or did that
well, because remember he's always
the
been like that.
Instagram Live thing.
I mean, forget all that. I mean, he had the the Miss B Nasty thing where he was talking to
Miss
Chad
B. Nasty?
Ochocinco. She's a
So there's a
porn star.
third thing. So this is what he do.
Well, he's just a freaky guy. Yeah, like that's been established. He
Is that
he
a crime, Rami? Is it a crime to be a freaky guy?
No, it's not. But in his defense,
As the minister of defense,
yeah. as the minister of Shannon Sharpe's defense.
of Shannon Sharpe.
Look, man.
He's Shannon Sharpe's
He's
agent.
too old to be messing around with these young girls, not because of the age difference necessarily, right?
Right.
They're just savvy with the tech.
Yeah.
He didn't know. He didn't know
That
what was
is
coming.
true.
They listen. They had a whole hit on him.
Yeah.
They had a hit on him, and then
Yeah.
that 100 million dropped.
Yeah. I don't know why like people go public with their contracts before like the ink is even dry. Like the timing was just too perfect. He signed $100 million deal and then like right away you have a lawsuit for half of that.
Yeah, I think.
Half?
I think.
Well, he hasn't signed it yet. It was like rumors that he's gonna sign
That
it or
he was gonna
whatever
sign it?
for the 100 million, and then pretty soon after,
Well, I
somehow he got 50 million now. to
right,
spare.
exactly.
But he already got dropped from ESPN, so
Yeah.
the deal's done.
But there ESPN saying that he chose to walk away. It's like no.
No, who's choosing to walk away from?
But here's the
$100 million?
thing. You make a good point in that like he's dealing with these young girls who are more tech savvy than him. He accidentally went live
You
while
don't go
having
accidentally-
sex.
no,
like,
that's
come
cap.
on,
You
pop
don't go
pop.
accidentally live.
Like,
I don't think. I don't.
go
I don't.
accidentally.
I don't.
It's you know how hard it is to go live on Instagram.
I don't think I don't even think it's like tech savviness or anything like that. I just think that he's a guy that he's successful, and he said it before. Like he's like he's set in his ways, and so but he's because he's successful. He feels like he can get what he wants. Like so and that's just kind of how the world has reinforced guys like that.
I just feel
historically.
like he needs to get. If you're a successful man and you don't have your sexual appetites under control, that's gonna always be your downfall.
Yeah.
There's so many successful men that a scandal or a situation with women has been their downfall. It's like a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And to just see like black men and athletes
Yeah.
fall into it time after time and time again, it's just crazy. Rami, you had brought up the Anthony Edwards guy, him and his baby mama situation. Like, do you think like that's going to be a new trend of people being able to pay out their child support outright?
It's cheaper.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
at the end of the day, it is cheaper, right?
Way cheaper.
I don't know what the math is, over like child support over 18 years and whatnot. But
Man,
I mean, if that sets a precedent, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can pay 1.8 and get out,
Mm-hmm.
how many people are you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That and when you're making, I mean,
Shannon Sharpe
everything's
would have
relative.
done that.
Everything's relative,
He-
right?
but-
So when you're making 100 mil,
Yeah.
2 million's nothing. But
Yeah.
like the plumber,
Mhm.
he's making,
Aaron's
no, but like
Aaron.
you're making 80,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
What's that child support buyout?
Outright.
Yeah, what's the buyout?
Mm.
But it's not for you.
I don't think they would
I
even
mean,
give them
yeah.
that
no,
option.
yeah,
for real.
it's not for you. You're gonna
Because you
go.
don't have the same job security.
Yeah, you're a regular old Joe with
Yeah.
a decent job. You're just gonna probably pay child support. But you're a millionaire, a billionaire.
Mhm.
Now we can talk about lump sums.
But what I feel like,
But you can always do that though.
Be,
You can always do that.
Uh.
There's always a room in court for you to negotiate a lump sum when it comes to child support
Mm.
Yeah.
or alimony or anything like that. You don't always have to be paying it forever. You can get out of it if the other party is happy with the number.
Yeah.
Because the thing that shot Shannon in the foot was that he offered this woman $10 million.
Yeah.
And then his
Privately.
lawyer
privately.
went and blabbed that to
Yeah.
everybody. So then that makes you look guilty.
It does.
That makes you be like, oh, there
It's
might
the
be
same
something
thing with
here.
like with Diddy though. I do think Diddy is guilty. I do think he
What do you
did.
mean think?
What,
There's-
I
there's-
do know that he's guilty with what he did with Cassie. But it's like Dr. Umar was saying in the same interview that he looked guilty because he paid Cassie outright. No, because he was on camera
He was on
whooping
camera
her. Like there
pulling
is
her
no.
back.
Down that hallway in the tower.
Pulling her down.
That's what I'm saying. Are you gonna say that was
Nah,
somebody else?
Get out of that.
He lost the
He
popularity
paid
war.
in
He did not
24
do that.
hours, and it's like as you should because you knew that video of you dragging that girl through that hotel was floating around.
I mean, it's crazy.
If you're
you know?
innocent, you're innocent. You ain't got to be doing all of what you was doing.
It's unfortunate. I mean, because you think of like Shannon Sharpe, his whole family seeing that.
Mhm.
They're seeing him and they're learning about all of his sexual proclivities.
But
Yeah.
that's what the 10 million's for. The 10 million
To
is so
avoid all
that,
that.
just so this whole thing doesn't come out, right?
Yeah.
But-
Whether he's guilty or not, you don't want your mama knowing you're choking him.
Yeah, no, you can say it. It's fine.
you know what I'm saying?
You can
but
say
then
it.
why not
Yeah,
offer
yeah,
her?
yeah.
But I feel like traditionally the situation
To not embarrass
you offer
yourself,
this woman
for people to
you're
not-
offering this woman like $1 million.
Yeah, 10 million.
10 million's like, oh, you did something. Because when Diddy offered Cassidy, when you hear, oh, he get Cassie $10 million,
Mhm.
you're like, oh, he did it.
10 million isn't enough for what he did to her, but for 10 millions for an OnlyFans model. So I was listening to Mason Cameron's podcast, right? And he was talking about at 19 years old, you're an OnlyFans model. If somebody offered you 10 million, you would have took it unless somebody else is in your ear.
Yeah.
Unless you already had a lawyer that was like, no, 10 million is your cut. We can get more out of him.
I listened to the Mason Cameron thing too, and he was just like, she got a pimp.
She got a pimp. He was
She's
like,
gotta
no,
pay her
he
pimp
was
or
like,
something.
10 million is for me. You got to figure out
Yeah.
your portion and
Yeah.
what you want. And so they think that maybe somebody like the government. So Dr. Umar, he takes it all the way there. He was like, maybe it's a conspiracy to bring him down.
Yeah.
Maybe ESPN or somebody was in her ear like, go for more. The 10 million will be for you. The rest is for us. But it's like everybody has a freaky uncle. Like we all know him. We all
Yeah.
know the one that maybe you don't leave the kids alone with, or the one maybe that, looks at your sister a little too long, or if you're the sister, looks at you too long. Or, the uncle that never settled down, always has a new girlfriend at the cookout. Like that doesn't make him a bad person.
Yeah.
People are into what they're
Well,
into, but you just got to move different.
Looking at the sister and all that kind of stuff doesn't make
Okay, no, yeah, that's a whole. Thank you for clarifying that.
I don't know.
those things make him
That was a
a
little
bad
wild.
person.
Oh, yo.
Thank you.
Looking at the family, that makes him a bad person. But,
This is why I need you here. Thank you. That does make you a bad person. But being the uncle that brings a new girlfriend to the cookout every weekend and all that does not make you a bad person. But it's like, if you know you're worth this much money and you're moving this recklessly, you're meeting women at the gym. Apparently, allegedly, he asked her to sign an NDA and she didn't. And he still moved forward and sleeping
You know
with
what
her.
Mace said that
Like,
too.
just being stupid.
I feel like he had the most level response of it because he even ended it by saying like, if you at a level like Shannon, you really gotta get married.
Yeah.
That's the
gotta
only way.
insulate yourself.
You gotta
You gotta insulate
insulate
You have to
yourself,
know
right.
who's around.
And I was
you. You gotta
surprised.
Yeah.
know
I was surprised.
Being sloppy.
I don't know Mace's personal life. I don't know if he's married himself, but I was
I don't
surprised to
think
hear him
Mace
say
is a
that.
pastor. Mace is a married
He's a
pastor.
pastor, right? So
Murder Mace.
so
We
I
We
was.
went to see him preach one time. Like when
Yeah.
he left Bad Boy, me and my sister Tiffany we went to go see him preach in Maryland.
Oh really?
When he was still a pastor.
How was that?
Interesting.
He did the Diddy Bob.
Nah, maybe he did. I stayed in the car, but my sister Tiffany went. She was a huge Mace fan.
Mace is great.
And he's still preaching, allegedly. But that Shannon Sharpe, whatever. I mean, people have had their opinions. That's ours. So another thing that's going on in the sports world right now is the whole draft situation with Shadar Saunders. Like, I've been mad about it all week. I don't even watch sports, and I was pissed off about it all week because here's the thing, right? And Dr. Umar can back me up on this because we know each other personally. That's also a lie. We just both have issues with snow bunnies sometimes. But it's like, I don't like the NBA draft, and I never have, because to me, this is going to sound a little crazy, it's always seemed to me like a slave auction. I lie to you not. I hate it. I feel like they go to the Black community. They take the best and brightest, the tallest, the most physically fit. These men could be firefighters in the local neighborhood, but they go throughout the entire Black community. They take the exceptional men out, move them into their communities, remove them from Black women into a sphere where they're not surrounded by people of color often. And every year you have these strapping young men go stand on the stage and wait for a group of white men to pick them. And that's how slave auctions used to be. It's like, oh, I have a buck. I have this guy. You know, you can come get him from my plantation and put him on yours. And you see these owners, they are old, decrepit white men who could never play the sport. And if they did, it was maybe 50 years ago. And they have these young men on the stage and they're trading them from plantation to plantation. I mean, from team to team.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And so even before this whole Shador situation, I felt that way.
Yeah.
And so when this happened, I felt like the NFL really showed its hand. I felt like they were just like, y'all niggas gonna get in line. You belong to us. You work for us. And I feel like the NFL they intentionally want Black men who don't come from intact families, and they intentionally want Black men who don't have fathers in their lives because they want the coach to be your father and they want the team to be your family. We want everything that we can get from you, and yeah, we'll give you a couple millions for you to, run your body rugged on this field. But the establishment moves on. These football players, they come and go. And the establishment moves on. And so the situation with Shador, it's just really like, it triggered me. We're going to play the clip because Dr. Umar talked about it on the same interview when he was talking about Shannon Sharpe. Then I want to get y'all's thoughts on it after my 10-minute rant that I just did.
What is the original sin of the Black man in white America? To be more confident in yourself than a Caucasian is in himself. Black men who are more confident in themselves than white men are in their own selves are considered a threat. Deion Sanders and Shador Sanders were a threat to the NFL power structure, and so they sabotaged that boy. And you know another reason why they did this, Art? Not only to mess with his money, not only to embarrass his father, but they also did this to keep everybody tuned into the draft day after day after day. Let me ask you a question, Art.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Rami. I'm going to start with you. You're a sports guy. What did you think of this whole draft situation when you saw it going down, if you watched it?
Specifically to Shador?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you're drafting a player, right? You're talking about, especially in the first round. First round, you're projected, it could be 20, 30, 40, 50 million. Right? So when you're investing that much money into anything, right? Any kind of business, you want to be able to control it, right? Right? You're investing that much money into an individual, you want to be able to have some level of control. And the thing that Shador represents, that most people that are at that level, is that he comes from wealth, right? So he's not kissing ass.
Yeah.
Right?
Facts.
He has the chain on. He got everything. He got the rings. He got everything, right? He has his own shoe. He got his own. They got their own phone. It's a prime phone. You know what I mean? They are a brand.
Yeah.
So when you're drafting Shador, you're getting everything that comes with it, right? So as much as I get it, as much as they want to make it seem like it was like a hit on him because of him being Black, no, it's because of his independence, his level of independence, right? Because
He didn't go to the combine, right?
what was that?
I heard he didn't go to.
He turned. Yeah, there's a bunch of things that he turned down because he said, I don't need that. Y'all already got film. You saw me on Saturdays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You saw me throw those touchdowns. I don't got to do what everybody else is doing.
Right.
So
So that did actually happen because I had heard because
Yeah.
I was, researching it for today. I had heard some speculation of like that's what he was doing. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
confirmed.
No, because somebody told me that too. They told me about the combine thing. I was like,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah. But also
because you know
perception
the
is reality.
combine is.
Yeah.
You know the combine.
I do not.
So they have it's in Indianapolis,
Mhm.
and they just have you have all these
Columbine, like the school shooting.
combines. So
Okay.
they come. It's just like all the talent from
Yeah.
all the universities
that
top
are
talent.
that have a potential to be drafted.
Yeah, they
Yes.
come, they show their stuff, they see how high they can jump, how fast they can run.
Mhm.
What is it, 10
40
yards?
40
yards?
40 yard dash. You got
Mhm.
a vertical. You got like a broad jump. You got
Yeah.
like a,
Mhm.
receivers have specific drills. Quarterbacks have specific drills.
Mm.
And from what I know,
Mhm.
Shador was like, I don't need to do none of that.
Yeah,
I don't got to.
it was either
But
it was
do you
either that
think that-
or his or it was like some of his father also being like, you don't like you
But
don't
he-
have to do these things.
No, do you think with his dad being Deion Saunders and him,
Yeah.
all that he's contributed to the game and
Mhm.
as knowledgeable as he is about the game, do you think that he would allow his son to be that entitled and unprepared? Stephen A. Smith was like, they were saying he was unprepared. It's like, how couldn't he be unprepared with Deion Saunders as his father? He's been preparing his whole life.
And you see how Deion Saunders coaches, like he's not.
I mean, it's like he's not taking flack from anybody.
Yeah.
But to your point, before we move on from it, Solomon, can you play that clip of Shador because you're making me think about it a little differently.
Yeah, because once I started talking to people about it, I was
You
like,
ain't
okay,
trying to
like, I
change
can
the
see both sides.
franchise or the coach that don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over. So it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people got to say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like diversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
So people saw that. And a lot of the argument that I've been hearing is that he was arrogant, he was unprepared, he refused this, he refused that. The way that I see things, right? Because it's like I see things like societally. I have a degree in sociology. I just see patterns in human behavior most of the time in race and stuff like that. Even when I don't want to see it, I see it. I feel like because he is confident that comes across as arrogance, but I feel like, America has an issue with confident men in general. And confident men of color in general, and confident black men specifically. But what you said, Rami, in that it's a business. Yeah. You don't want somebody coming in and bringing their brand right beside you and not trying to merge it at all. And so I can understand that aspect of it. But Stephen A. Smith was saying, if it's merit-based, it's merit-based. Who cares if you don't like his attitude? He's great.
No,
You disagree?
I can tell you exactly why.
Okay.
The quarterback position is the nucleus of the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he's on a different page than the coaches are trying to be on and everybody else is trying to be on, right? It's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback drives the culture of the team, right? So if he's not aligned with what the owners of the team want and what the coaches want and what the defensive coordinator, offense, whatever, if he's not aligned with that, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And now you're talking not just about him being a $60 million investment. Now you got the entire offensive line. That's $200 million you're spending right there. You got your white. So if you think about the whole thing, you're talking about $1 billion business, right? You want everybody to fall in line.
Yeah.
And whether they're white, black, whatever. And you have to produce. And I'll say this one thing before we, transition. He was talking about, like, first of all, he's a great quarterback, right?
Yeah.
He's good. Obviously, you don't get to that level if you're a bum.
Right.
But he's talking about like he accomplished something as if he won the national championship, right? Now, if we're talking about awards and equals and this and that, there's quarterbacks who have won the national championship twice who didn't talk like that. Now, who would you rather have? Somebody who's actually produced at that level, who's produced at that level and is like, has a calm demeanor, right? Goes with the program. Or do you want somebody who won on the fringes, right? They won on the fringes and they're hot on the internet. They got a song, right?
Not a song.
He has a song.
Right? He got a song.
He does not have a song.
He has a song, right?
I like he's a young fly
There's nothing
nigga.
wrong with
He's turned.
that.
He's like
Listen,
the ivory.
I think
There's nothing
it's
wrong
like
with that. But
when
you gotta win. You gotta win.
But he does win.
No.
Does he not win?
Not at that level where you can be talking that kind of shit.
He's saying
Not at that
he
level.
hasn't. You can have won all these college championships and stuff. There's a lot of like historical first round draft pick quarterbacks who came in and didn't do anything.
Bums, straight bums.
You know,
White dudes with the cardigan and everything.
Yeah.
Talking perfect.
I always think of that one guy, Johnny Manziel.
No, Johnny Football, he was that boy.
Johnny Football. I mean, he had a cool name.
He was that dude, but then he came in and he didn't really deliver that.
He had like 2 years, or he was cracking.
Yeah.
But after that, he kind of.
Okay, the guy that they drafted first is kind of like what they wish Shador was, right?
Travis Hunter or Cam
something Ward.
Cameron
Ward,
yeah.
you know? But to me, I feel like he hold on. I feel like he is the acceptable black man that white America likes.
It is.
You know, he's humble, he's quiet, maybe wears little off-brand shoes, only cares about the sport. It's like, no, you don't get to. Well, it's your franchise. You do get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the fact that you can't be saucy. You can't, because they treated Allen Iverson like that.
Rami's point is
you can't be saucy. You can't. You can, but you gotta win.
Get there first.
He had one shit.
Get there first.
One shit. His daddy won.
Yeah.
He didn't win shit. He's
Get there
good. He's a
first.
good
Get
player.
there
You're
first.
taking nothing away from him.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
But he didn't reach that level where you can be talking that kind of shit.
But here's the thing, though. He's not 144th good. He's not 5th round good. They did that intentionally. I understand. Prove your point. Yeah. But I think they took it too far. It's like y'all are grown men sitting around colluding against a kid. They love to call, white Americans kids when they do something wrong. Yeah. He's a kid. Give him time to figure it out then. 5th round, at your big age, y'all are doing all this to prove a point and also using him for your ratings. It was just manipulative. I thought it was mean. And because I am the host of the show, I'll just say you're both wrong.
Well, you know what? The reality,
they did it because they were mean and jealous.
You're not bigger than the program. You're not bigger than the program. They let him.
I feel like he kind of is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're talking about him.
He ain't won shit.
Well, that's the thing. What the thing
his dad did.
You can't enter the program and say you're bigger than that.
I don't think.
But there has to be a criteria for you to be a first round pick.
Yeah.
And it's like, from what I understand, he met those criteria.
He definitely met the criteria.
So in that sense, it's like it's very clear to all of us
vindictive
that they did this out of vindication.
Of course,
you're not big, but it's
okay.
But they used him as an example.
Yeah, they did.
To all these other new guys.
But guess what though? Guess who else they used to use as an example? The black man on the plantation who would rise up and think he was trying to save his family. They would beat him, whip him.
I can't agree with that. With you saying that they're the same thing, because these people.
You're my husband. You're not allowed to disagree.
They're being paid millions.
No, I'm kidding.
They're being paid millions of dollars.
Yeah. No, I do hear.
So it's not the same as being a slave.
And you can go home. You can go home.
And you can leave whenever you want. This is
no, but you're owned.
Huh?
Are you not owned?
You're only owned.
Yes, you're getting a lot of
money.
money, but you're owned. You can only talk about so much. You belong to the NFL at the time of your contract. You're not free to share your opinion. Yeah. Call him Kaepernick. Yeah. You're not your own. Yeah. You belong to the NFL, nigga, during this time.
But niggas don't own multiple houses and have white baby mamas.
Just because you're white, so that means you're free.
So it's a choice. It's all a choice. Yeah. But the reality of it is that you want to go into the NFL. It comes with strings. You want millions of dollars. It comes with strings. Yeah. Unless you want to make it yourself, you want to make your own business, you want to make your own thing. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to come into an organization that's been around for decades and has, they have all these traditions and all this kind of stuff, you're going to have to adhere to it to a certain amount. Everybody wants to change that culture, but that's an old culture.
And he did say that, though. He's like, if you're not ready to change the culture, and
he said, if you don't want to change the culture, don't get me. And that's a quote. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what happened. So they say, all right, bet.
All right, well, that Shadar Saunders, I think they was hating on a fly young cat. But
they was hating. They was hating. I'll agree with that. They was hating, but
so
he ain't no slave.
The internet has been ablaze with that. The internet too. I don't know if this is just on TikTok or if y'all have seen on Instagram too. There's been like this question about and I think there's so much going on in the world right now with the tariffs and the recession that we're just like, we're gonna pretend like it's not happening. What I really want to know is 100 men versus one gorilla, who will win? Yes, we're on the brink of World War III, but we need an answer for this right now.
Yeah, it's every so often you have one of these weird things that be trending.
Solomon, did I send you the picture?
It's so funny. I've actually had conversations in real life.
Yeah.
If I mention it, people turn around and want to talk to me about it. Like they're just like, oh,
What
yeah,
if you were like in the first inner circle? I would hate that.
no, push them first.
What do you mean?
Because the gorilla is gonna chew through like the first 10 guys. But I'm just like, who's putting the guillotine on the gorilla? Who's putting the chokehold on the gorilla?
I think. Listen, 25 per limb.
Yeah.
25 per limb.
25 people per limb. You got them.
I think
If
so
you're
too.
organized,
No,
and
you
you
put
have a
your
plan.
organized.
Put your,
You're not pussy.
yeah,
You're
if
gonna
you're
burn
organized
through your
and you're
first
not
50.
scared. Yeah.
If you're not scared,
Yeah.
and 25 people. I mean, I don't know, but
25.
But no
That's something I
weapons
can
though.
think
No
of.
weapons. There's just bare
Yeah,
hands.
It has to
Grab
be right.
bare
They're
hug-
equal.
bare hug a
No,
limb.
honestly, if it's just bare hands, there's no way you don't.
No,
stand
no,
a
no.
chance.
I think.
I
Well,
don't
here's
care
the
if
thing.
it's 1,000 men. Okay, maybe 1,000.
I've seen the
100
speed
men?
of gorillas in real life.
The
You know,
strength.
The key is everybody has to come at the same.
everybody has to
exact
rush.
time.
You have to rush it like this.
Other than that, not
all
correct.
sides, and people got it. I'm telling you, somebody got.
But how would you unalive it though?
You got to put a guillotine on her.
There's no way you're choking a
If
gorilla.
everybody's holding down the limbs, you got a couple guys
Yeah.
holding a guillotine around his neck.
100 grown ass men sitting on your chest.
Yeah.
You're not
because
breathing.
gorillas are strong, but they're not Superman. You know, they're very strong.
They're
They can
strong as
probably
hell,
bench. They
bro.
can flip a small toy like a Camry or a Corolla.
Not-
Yeah.
Not a Camry, but they can
Prius.
flip a Corolla. You know,
Yeah.
maybe a Prius
Why maybe?
because batteries are really heavy. If it's
Yeah.
like the older ones, the hybrid one, maybe that one. But then like these all battery, all electric ones, no.
I don't know if you guys have ever been like close to like a monkey, but like monkeys, obviously, like they're maybe like a quarter of
As
a
Africans,
gorilla.
I'm ashamed.
Chimpanzees,
Never.
they say, have the strength of what is it? Is it
100
three-
men?
3 people, 3 grown men. Is it chimpanzee?
It was at 5.
Listen, all I know is I saw those real monkeys, right?
Yeah.
And like back overseas, and
Mhm.
if they get a hold of you,
Yeah. They're
Right?
ripping you apart.
Yeah,
if
they're
they
ripping you
get
apart.
yeah. But like even just like the small little ones,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
getting away.
No.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they grab your bag, that's it. You're
Every
you're
time I
never
see
getting
these
it back.
videos where people are going
Not
in
getting
and
that
they're
back.
taking these trips
Mhm.
and they're walking through these like rainforests and there's all these monkeys, I'll never do that.
Me neither.
I would never
crazy.
stay anywhere where
Our
monkeys are.
ancestors
I'm gonna
fought
not
too
go to
hard
Thailand.
to
Bro.
avoid that.
Thailand be having monkeys. I don't.
Like when people let them come and sit on their shoulders and be sitting on top of their head,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're
People have them as like a like over like back in
And
Yemen,
it's not-
I
it's not
remember
good.
We would go to a restaurant. There's like a restaurant by like the ocean. I remember like by the beach,
Uh-huh.
and they had monkeys just like chained up to the
good.
tables.
no, not to the
The
tables.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
wanna
And like you would like
interact.
feed the monkey and just be
Nah.
like chilling with the monkey.
First of all, they
and
say,
shit.
like,
If that monkey ever got free, it would hurt.
There was a
everybody
couple of
sitting
them.
up
They-
at that
they had a couple
restaurant. That's
monkeys.
crazy.
With chimps, they
Yeah.
say you can only train them up to a certain point, and then they get to a certain age where they just drop everything they learned and they go savage. Like,
Of course.
you know,
There
it's
was
like
this one chimp who had been raised by, I think, a white lady all his life. And then at one point, he like ripped her face off, ripped her arms off.
Oh,
like
yeah,
they
yeah,
leaked the
yeah.
phone call. He was like,
it was her friend.
her friend called because he was just like,
the
destroying
woman
her.
owned the monkey. Her friend came over,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
chimpanzee
Yeah.
started
Attacked her
ripping
friend?
her friend apart.
Yeah,
I
but
remember
they
cops
said
had
that they
to,
gave they
kill it.
gave him like
Yeah.
cold medicine or like they had gave him like Robitussin or something, and then he just like flipped out.
You can't treat them like people, man.
Michael had a monkey, right?
He did.
What was his name?
Was it Bobo?
Bubbles.
Bubbles. Okay, it was Bubbles.
Having a
You were
monkey
close.
is just it's crazy.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah.
it, guys.
French Montana got one.
Wow.
Having a monkey is
You
crazy.
can get a
All-
monkey.
all
It's
the
not that hard to
things-
get a monkey.
Yes, it is.
But should you?
Not really.
No?
The answer
Nah.
is no.
Just don't get a monkey, guys.
Don't get
Just
one.
don't
It's
get
not hard.
it's
have
settled.
have
Don't
a baby
get a monkey.
if you really want a monkey.
Okay, guys, I want to know. Most importantly, above everything else that we've discussed, this is what I really brought you guys here to figure out. What would be the first thing that you would do if you woke up as a woman? You didn't take any time to think about it.
Curb
Think
the
about it.
shit out of my rims.
You would what?
Curb my rims.
You would curve your rims? You can do that now. You don't need to be a woman to hit the curve. I mean, it's more fun.
Well, no, then I can just be like, oops.
Oops. Yeah, that
Like,
is,
if I hit it now, I'm like, God,
that is
right?
true.
But if a girl's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna just go to the
It's not
gym
bad.
so that people open doors for me and stuff and give me
you,
free things. Yeah,
you guys are such
Yeah,
pick me
yeah.
girls.
I'm
Like
just
you,
gonna have. I'm gonna have. I'm never gonna buy a meal. I'm just gonna have.
yeah.
Go on dates.
That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the fun part about being a girl.
Ask me what's wrong.
What's wrong?
yeah.
That's
I'm
actually
just.
fun
that's a-
too.
I'm gonna just walk around confident. I'm just walk around confident and just not worry about certain things.
You guys think like girls have so much fun. I love that. You're like, I would get free stuff. I wouldn't care.
Oh, I would
about
laser
anything.
all of the hair on from my waist down.
Yeah.
Laser it all off because I don't want to be shaving all the time.
Yeah. So you would just
and
be
I would
me?
just live like that. And then
You can do that now.
yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, I think
You guys are simple, easy to please. I feel like y'all would get married quick. You don't ask for much. You don't ask for much.
I did. I mean,
as women.
You said yes.
You said yes.
You said yes.
Okay. All right. That was easy.
Well, what's
I
the
love
first thing
that.
you would do if you were a man?
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I would build a house because y'all are slacking.
You would
Wait, with
build
your
a
hands?
house.
I would build a house
Wait,
with
what
my
you mean,
bare
with your
hands
hands?
because that's what it means to be a man.
Y'all can do.
Y'all stop building houses. That's why we have this
never
house
started.
shortage.
You know,
going
technically,
on.
women are the
How many
most
houses have you
educated
built?
and make more money than men. do.
And men should be building houses.
Currently, right now, women make.
Hey,
more money.
you're asking me about my male fantasy, right? I will wake up and I would build a house day one.
You can do that now.
Have you hit your thumb
I
with the hammer?
can't do that
Have
now.
you have like putting a nail, right? Have you hit your thumb with the hammer before?
No.
All right, go do
No, I have not
some
because I'm not a
manual
man.
Do some
I'm
manual
not a
labor for
man.
12 hours.
I don't have to build a house
Plus-
right now, but it's like I feel like as a man to be able to say, "Yeah, I built this. I built this house myself."
Yeah.
That would be really, really fun. Like, oh, you like this kitchen? I built it.
There's nothing fun about that.
What do you mean?
So you want to be a contractor?
You want to be a contractor?
Yes.
I am
You wanna
in
be-
construction now.
I would be a contractor,
think you-
You
constructor.
see like some DIY shit on TV. You're like, I'm gonna,
HGTV.
but I'm gonna
As a person who works
Yeah,
within the
yeah.
construction industry, like, yeah, that's only it can be fun and it is fulfilling. I will say,
Yeah.
like when you have a project and it's built.
Okay, you get off the hook because you work in construction. That's not what I'm talking about.
But it's
All right,
like-
I'll let you have it.
That's so funny. She said, "I want to build
No,
a house."
let me
build a
think.
house.
What
I thought she
else
was
I
gonna
would
say,
do?
like, I just want to, walk around and go to the gym. Because
Yeah, walk around at night by myself.
Yeah,
No,
walk
oh
around,
yes,
yeah.
I would walk around at night by myself. I would go jogging at 3 a.m. by myself with
It's
headphones
great.
on.
It's great.
Is
honestly.
it great?
Yeah, yeah. Being like in downtown LA, like
How does
3
it feel to
3
like
it's fine.
feel safe? Is it fun?
Yeah, I'm not the demographic. Well, I want. That's the thing. You don't feel safe. It's just that we know how to.
You don't feel
Make
safe
the
as a
world-
man?
No, I don't feel safe.
If you because that's when you get
Yeah.
got. The moment you're walking around here being like, "Oh, I'm big and I'm black, no one's
Yeah.
gonna mess with me," that's a problematic.
But men don't feel safe.
Let me tell
No.
you. Let me tell you when I'm the most afraid. Right?
Yeah.
When it's late at night and there's another woman on the same sidewalk as me. Right? I'm terrified.
I'm
If
keeping
if
my
you're
head on a
alone,
You're
swivel.
afraid that she's afraid of you.
yes.
Do you know what
And
it's like when you're a
some
man?
crazy shit might go down.
She might accuse you of something
whatever,
or
whatever.
run.
Listen, no man is more scared than
Yeah.
being on an empty street alone with a woman he doesn't know, like crossing paths.
I keep my
I'll
head on
cross
the
Do you
swivel.
cross the street? I was
I
about
cross
to
the
ask
street.
you, like, you'll cross the street.
I keep my head on a
What
swivel.
about an
Yeah,
elevator?
yeah.
Would you get out of okay, so before
No,
Shannon
no, no.
Sharpe, to bring it back to him, before he got caught up, he was
Yeah.
online talking about like, oh, I'm never on an elevator alone with a single woman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then a week
Come on,
later,
Scoop.
all this popped off.
Come
You
on,
know?
Scoop.
So it's like, would you take it as far as to be like, I'm not gonna be in an elevator alone? Or is it like, I know I'm not gonna hurt this lady. I don't care if she's scared. I'm
No,
safe.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
The thing is like, the thing is never like, oh, am I gonna do something to her?
Right.
No. It's the perception that people may have of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you think you being brown has a little bit to
Hell yeah.
do with that?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
as a brown
and
man
that's
and as a black
and that's what I think.
Yes.
Growing up, I don't know if you had this, but our mothers, right? And also, like, you see this shit.
Yeah,
on
they-
TV.
they told
you don't
us
mess
how
with
to-
these kind of girls.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah.
do this kind of thing.
My
As a
mom
person
and
of-
my dad
yeah,
would always be like, "Hey, listen, like,
Even
Yeah.
you too?
Yeah. They're like, yo, don't mess with these. Don't mess with these. You know. You know what I'm saying? They'll get you caught up into some shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you don't even put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Truth.
You don't gotta dig yourself out of it
Yeah.
if you don't put yourself in that position.
because I mean, it's just the association.
Yeah.
is bad enough. You know,
Yeah.
to get you in all kinds of trouble. I mean, that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
You know, if you have means and you have success, people expect you to. We now live in a time where you're accountable for anything you've ever done, no matter what mindset you was in, how old.
That's
you
the
were.
way it should be, but it's
And
like
if you have, if you have all
Yeah.
this success, you have all this money and all this power, it should actually come with a little bit more range. Because that's the problem with the world now. You know, you a billionaire, you can just shoot a rocket at the moon and be like, oh, I just wanted to see the.
well, it's the end of the era where wealthy men think they can do whatever they want without consequence.
Yes.
That era is over now. You
Nah,
know,
it's
it's
still
the
They
era.
all cheat on
but it's the
their wives,
era
all
of
this kind of stuff,
accountability. I mean, you
and-
have to be at a certain level. Like you have to be like Illuminati level and deep state level to be able to get away with what you want. But even they're being
even that
exposed
has
a little bit.
has
right?
an expiration date. Yeah.
While we're talking about the government and tariffs and stuff, we weren't even talking about the government.
Hmm.
But speaking of China, Solomon, could you play the tariffs clip for us real quick, please?
Chinese social media users are flooding TikTok with their buying secrets. Why? They claim to avoid President Trump's rising tariffs on Chinese imports go directly to the manufacturers.
Why don't you just contact us and buy from us?
And guess
The
what?
way he says it.
Here in these two factories, you can get them for around $5 to $6. Crazy.
Experts say accounts like these are likely peddling fake claims And some companies like Lululemon have warned consumers to be aware of potentially counterfeit products and misinformation. Some of these videos are now no longer on TikTok. CNN has reached out for comment.
They lying. Dude.
I'm about to say, I'm like,
Listen. This is my thing on it. Like, we all
Clear cap.
know where the stuff comes from. You know it comes from China. Yeah. So when the tariffs, when they came out here and they said they was going to do these tariffs, and I saw these videos, I was like, oh, this is probably facts. Mm-hmm. That's the only way those industries can sustain themselves. Mm-hmm. They make such a massive profit on their product because they make mundane things. They make bags, they make handbags, mm-hmm. they make clothes. So it's for somebody like Lululemon, I think that they actually they could actually lose because, mm-hmm. you know, why wouldn't you buy an off-brand legging? Who cares? Like, you don't need the label of Lululemon on leggings. But then no one's gonna buy a handbag though mm-hmm. from China. Nobody's gonna go to the manufacturer and buy a Louis bag. Even though I know you make the Louis bag, but you're not putting the Louis logo on it. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting it from the Louis store. I'm not getting the certificate mm-hmm. and all of the clout that comes with it. They're not gonna buy that.
Low-key, I feel like they're trolling Americans. Like, I feel like Trump derangement syndrome is so strong that people will believe anything that's anti-Trump.
Yeah.
And it's like, if the one thing the Chinese people are going to do is make money, and who can blame them? You know what I mean? Exactly. So I feel like, I'm sure some of this is true because we know you can get stuff for cheaper. Yeah. But the fact that people were like, look, we found a cheat code. Ha, ha, look at tariffs. Da, 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 da. It's like, you just have to be more discerning because even I could watch this and be like, let's be for real.
And you can't,
like, you can tell that they was lying.
And it's not going to be like, I just want one bag. Let me spend
they
$6.
Want you to order.
No, they want you to do a bulk order of like
and also include
probably.
Your social security number with it. I saw this girl who sells weave. She sells hair on Instagram. She had posted about how because of the tariffs, she was having a hard time getting through to her vendor, and her vendor was like, "Well, there's a whole different process now that we have to use to send it to you. Just go ahead and send us your social security number, and we'll work it out."
That makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Then it's a social security number.
Yeah, it's like I didn't need it before, but I need it now.
If your business is that reliant, then you need to get your stuff together.
Make it in America, baby.
You need to. No, you have two options.
So
you can make it in America.
Yeah.
Or you can get your butt on a plane and go to China mm-hmm. and meet these distributors, meet these manufacturers, and figure out like how these things work mm-hmm. for yourself, or work out something where you can bypass all these things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't see how you could bypass a tariff though by going
to
directly
China.
To
the people who were putting the most amount of tariffs on. It's like
I don't see how you.
They're bending over backwards to help Americans. It's like
I feel like the way that they're going to do that, there's going to be a way around it.
Yeah.
I think if you incorporate the businesses together, like if you have a business here and then you have your supplier there, and you're like, hey, let's do some kind of merger. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can get around
without my social security number. Like, like that's when you should be alarmed. But while we're talking about geopolitics, and I was going to do my best to not keep it political. I mean, to not make it political, but I love politics. I'm always watching stuff about politics. And before we started, we were talking about Ibrahim Traore. Mm-hmm. I'm saying his name wrong. Forgive me, African brother, African king, black
president.
King.
Ibrahim.
You're my first African king.
Is he officially the president, or is he just like the?
No, I think he's the president.
Has he declared himself as president, or
Solomon? Is he? Can you check that for us?
He's the leader of Burkina Faso.
I think he's the.
But what his formal I don't know what his formal
has he officially claimed the presidency?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
people be inviting him out, like other presidents in other countries in Africa invite him out, like to come to their coronations and that kind of stuff, or what do you call it? Inauguration.
He is the president, right? And he's young. He's only 35. He's very pro West Africa, which is very rare for our leaders. You know, I'm Sierra Leonean. You're Nigerian. Yep. So you're from a country where it's like the leaders. I mean, most African leaders are corrupt. You know, they sell our country for not you, Minister of Security Advisory Council. Speaking, you would never.
No corruption.
As a president, you do well for your people. But our leaders, you know, be selling the people for peanuts, you know, for these European countries. They'll let them come in and mine the whole country as long as their family are good. Historically. And so for Ibrahim, like he's pushing the French out of the country. He's abolished French as the national language.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Air France is not allowed to travel there anymore.
Yeah, I heard about that one. But France is like so mean about it. Like France and like Belgium, dude.
Yeah.
They are so mean about these countries that
They
they
want them
used
to-
to
they want them
colonize.
to- they're
from
still paying money.
Haiti to
Yeah.
They're paying-
There is
they,
no
they,
France.
they still
paying
make
money
you
to
pay them
France.
money so they don't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's
They're
archaic.
siphoning. There is no France without Africa.
Yeah.
And the man who's married to a man, Macron, and the man who's married to his uncle wife Brigitte. Yeah, Macron. I'm talking about him because he was in an interview talking about calling Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso, saying that they're being ungrateful. Ungrateful for what? Africa's being ungrateful. There is no Europe without Africa.
Yeah.
You and your husband need to put more respect on Burkina Faso's name. They have been trying to assassinate this man,
Yeah.
and Putin
Many,
actually
many
surprisingly
times.
has been protecting him. So Putin was really good friends with Gaddafi. Now, what are your thoughts on Gaddafi? Because I love him.
As I've gotten older, I've gained more nuances on the Gaddafi situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess he was what he was trying to do was not in the interest of the West.
At all, he was trying to
So
unite
they
Africa.
so they couped, so they organized a coup. Like, I
America came and gave them some freedom.
I love America. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
this is a great country,
Mhm.
but I don't always like the things that we do overseas. I don't always like our foreign policy.
Yeah.
It definitely needs to be overhauled in some kind of ways. Like, we shouldn't be trying to, keep an entire continent subjugated
Right.
for our benefit. And it's like the whole world wants to subjugate Africa, and it's
Right.
literally the most. It's if not the most, one of the most mineral rich, culturally rich,
Mhm.
continents
Mhm.
on the planet. And very few of those countries have 100% control
Mhm.
over their own resources. And I
Right.
think that is crazy.
Well, when I think about Africa, right, and people are like, why is Africa like this? Why is Africa like this? Why is it so poor? It's like Africa is not allowed to prosper. If you just
Yeah.
left us alone, we are the wealthiest countries. Not
Yeah.
that we would be the wealthiest
Intelligent
continent.
people,
We are the wealthiest continent.
hungry people, driven people, like
Right.
it's all there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like there are powers
Yeah.
outside of the continent that
Mhm.
do everything they can to keep
Mhm.
stifling their progress.
Absolutely. Well,
And,
it's the hidden hand, and
yeah.
and that doesn't just happen in Africa. It happens in the Middle East.
I
You're
was about to
from
say,
Minister. You're from Yemen. Do you
Yeah.
care to speak about? And we don't have to go into deep detail about it, but it's like I know that there's a lot of attention that has been on Yemen right now. And as you being somebody who's from there, like, how do you feel about what's going on there with the Houthis and all that? And you can say as little or as much as you want about it.
Like similar to the situation you guys are just talking about. When there's chaos, it's easy to exploit resources,
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now, let's look at example BP, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to give all of Iraq or all of the people, or give them an amount that is enough for all of the people to be using their resources.
True.
mhm,
They only have to pay off a small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
easier,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
right?
So you fund both sides of the conflict and keep them fighting,
Fund-
and you can.
it's cheaper to fund both sides of the conflict,
Yeah.
and while they're both fighting, you're stealing whatever resource that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everywhere you see in the world, right?
Mhm.
And there's chaos. There's always going to be resources,
Mhm.
right?
Powerful third party.
Always, yeah.
Mhm.
Also, like so, for example, in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Trump
Yeah.
right now,
Facts.
when he came to the White House, they
Mhm.
shitted all over your boy. What's Zelensky, right?
Zelensky,
They shit
yeah.
all over. Why aren't you
Yeah.
wearing a suit?
I loved it. I'm sorry. I liked that
Right?
interview.
But look, now Trump turned back
Mm.
and was like, "Hey, we'll back you guys, but give us your mineral rights."
Mhm.
But
Look right now,
what's crazy about
Yeah.
that is like that's the whole reason.
It also makes
America
most of our
has been
bread,
backing-
guys.
yeah.
That's like one of the main reasons America has been backing.
They want the resources.
Yeah.
Why we
Always
want the
about
we want the
resources.
So take that example.
But I was like, that's fine.
take
That is
example,
an
go
Eastern
everywhere
European
else.
country.
Yeah.
But take that example and go everywhere else in the world. Everywhere you see conflict like that, they're funding both sides.
Mhm.
But at least they went to Europe for a change. Okay, they didn't go to Africa.
That is true.
I was like, go ahead and get.
Give us a little.
Go
break.
ahead. Those are white people over there. Go ahead.
Yeah, but
If they want to give you
We
their.
don't
their-
encourage war for anybody, but boy, is it nice to have
I don't
a break.
encourage war. I don't like war.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say that as a veteran, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like if you're gonna go do it to your own. Okay.
Yeah.
Go. If Europe doesn't like it, then maybe that will be a practice.
A lot of wheat and bread is produced in
It's the breadbasket of Europe.
It is, yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
they're worried about like food shortages and all that. And I wish we had more time to really get into the depth of everything that is going on in Ukraine, because it didn't start a few years ago under Biden. It's been going on for a very, very long time, decades, right? And so this is just the culmination of it. I did think Trump was going to get a deal much faster, but I'm also not one of those people who voted for him that are like, everything's not perfect right now. You didn't do a good job.
I
don't
been
feel that
a
way. It
couple
takes time.
of months.
But I did think it would be sooner. I thought after the whole Zelensky bit that we would have more emotion on it, but I haven't heard that much about it outside of what Rami just said. After the whole Zelensky blowout in the White House, I haven't heard much about it at all.
I saw the most recent headline I saw was that
True.
Putin, I think, is willing to sit down and talk.
He been
about.
wanting to, but listen. So the way somebody explained it to me is like, think about it from Putin's perspective, right? If Mexico, like you share a border with Mexico. If Mexico had arms, and if the UN wanted to arm Mexico, the United States would do something about it, and so we're arming.
It's not the same situation, but I get what you're saying.
It's not. It's not the same.
Because we were one. America's one of the people who started the UN.
That's what I'm saying.
Is looked at as an arm of America right now.
It is,
and so them
I would say that's the
wanting
majority
to
of
move that border closer to Russia. It's like
it's an invasion.
Everyone has
It's an
said
invasion,
like
and
that
you're
was
gonna
an
protect your
inevitable
borders.
That was an inevitability, and also added to the fact that Putin.
And he been
says
saying
he tried to join NATO.
They told him no, and he told them, if you do this, you're going to force my hand. They have been forcing their hands, and so I feel like
he tried to avoid war.
They got what it is that they wanted.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I love America.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people out here that's acting like I don't know how the world is and doesn't. And
nobody loves America more than immigrants.
But they forced his hand. It was really. This was what they knew was going to happen as a result. They were ready for it.
Well, that's what they wanted.
But they didn't. I think they just thought Americans would support it more. But I'm like, this isn't 1960.
Nah.
Like, we're not out here.
I'm really proud of our generation. I feel like as millennials, bro, like we just want peace. We just want to have a good time. Like, we're old enough to remember
I've always wanted to go to Russia
and Afghanistan.
I've wanted to go to Moscow.
We're not the generations before us who were just like so war hungry. Like our country was at war for 20 years, and we don't pay. I don't want to say we don't pay much attention to it. Now we're starting to have real conversations about it. But for most of our lives, our country was at war, and we remember. Like, I remember 9/11. Them sending us home early to where it is that we are now. It's like, I'm old enough to see how this goes. And to not want to do it again. Yes, I'm not a veteran. I never served my country, but I remember when things changed in America, when the 2008 recession happened. It was the small things, like we stopped going out to eat as much. We used to go to the laundromat, and then after we went to the laundromat, my mom would take all of us to the Golden Corral, and then all of a sudden we couldn't afford to go to the Golden Corral anymore. So it's like those little things. It's like, I'm old enough to know that this is not productive and to not want to do it again. But to wrap things up on a lighter note, let's talk about Iran. I'm joking. I'm joking. We're not going to do that. We're not going to talk about Iran. We don't have time, but I will be bringing y'all back so that we can. But to wrap it up, I do want to know, what is the funniest insult someone has ever given you? Like, when you think about
none of them are funny.
None of them were funny. You gotta toughen up, babe.
Somebody made fun of my shoes one time, and it was. I think I told you about it. It was like I was in middle school or something.
Yeah, but you went wrong because you started when somebody's getting roasted, you steer clear.
I was roasting him because everybody's just always roasting, right?
Yeah.
And so this was just a time where I was up.
Mm-hmm.
I was winning the roast battle.
You were 1-0.
But then he got whiff of he saw my shoes. My dad gave me these you ever seen
not a whiff?
Not like, so you ever seen those Jordans on the shelf?
Not the Team Jordan. The Team Jordan.
So I'm not a sneakerhead. The way I don't be in a sports, the way I don't be in the sports,
and you have
I don't know shoes.
Parents, bro.
So I don't know shoes. Yeah. So my parents used to buy me shoes. Because I was a good kid, so my parents bought me shoes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they just buy me random shoes that they thought looked good.
They bought
Pro Kids, anything they thought looked good. I had a wall of shoes. You ask my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad gave me these J's. These I shouldn't even call them J's. It's Jordans.
Mm-hmm. They were,
and they had a little net around the thing, and they were
what
black,
number were they?
And they had no number.
They call those Mexican Jordans.
Mexican Jordans.
So
the Air Zeros.
The shoes was black, and a little old and like a little light colored, you know.
Yeah.
And so the dude said like, I know you ain't talking with your ashy Jordans.
got 'em,
And
bro.
Yeah.
that was it.
You were asking for it. It was too easy.
And
the first thing
and
you
I
gonna
was
do
like-
is look at somebody's feet and be like, boy, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
come on.
and he was one of those kind of dudes too
Yeah.
short, you
Yeah.
know, and just needing attention. So like he
Yeah.
was just he won off that one thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like done.
Tables
I
turned
couldn't
quickly,
get out.
huh?
I'm like, you short, like it didn't
Yeah.
work. It didn't work.
Well, he won that one. Okay, you, Ramen. What was I overheard one of the ones you had said something that was funny, but I'm gonna wait and see if it's the same one that you're gonna say.
Yeah, funniest insult had to be getting called a Dune Coon.
Yeah, I was like, I hope you would say it.
I couldn't even be mad at him.
That is hilarious.
I wanted to really.
That is
this kid.
hilarious.
And then he
Dune
called me
Coon is-
Dune Coon, and I was like, the creativity on this. I was like, I
You
can't
told
even
me
be
that?
mad.
You told me that like when I had like first met you, and I was like, that's hilarious.
A Dune
That's the
Coon is
funniest-
crazy.
That's
the
hilarious.
Like
And I'm
I heard
just-
I heard camel jockey.
No.
Yeah.
But Dune Coon,
It's
that
better
that
than
had
the
a-
other ones. The other
Dune
ones
Coon's
are
crazy.
too
I'm just
vulgar.
picturing you there in like a do-rag, and Tim's like, what? Like, just what makes you say that? Like, literally.
That's funny.
Dune
You
Coon.
become a rapper. That's
Dune
your name,
Coon is
Dune
crazy.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah,
like
yeah.
your squad.
That's
Dune
creative.
Coons.
People get really
So
creative.
look out for my new mixtape.
Yeah. What's
Yo.
the DC? Okay.
DC Young Fly?
DC Young Fly.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Fly.
You
Call
have to
me.
think of a better one.
That's hilarious. No, but that's a good one though.
It is.
Shoot.
Y'all have probably heard this one a million times because y'all have been to multiple comedy shows of mine, and
Mm-hmm.
I made a joke out of it. But I was going back and forth with this person on Instagram, like I like to do. Don't come to my page thinking you're gonna do a little drive-by, leave me a comment. I'm not gonna get back at you. I'm gonna get back at you. So this guy had commented under one of my pictures, and he was like, "Is that a man?" You know, and I was thinking to myself, like, nigga, you know I'm not a man. You see me. Not only that, if you thought I was a trans, you would have more respect. And that's what I was going to originally say, but I didn't say that. And because the Holy Spirit stopped me. I'm Christian. I was in a good mood that day. So I responded back. I said, I'm not a man, but God bless you. And he responded, thank you, brother.
Wherever you are,
That's-
I know you're alone. I know you're in a basement. I know you have no
But-
friends.
you got some
No,
cookies
but-
on your
I'm praying for you too.
Tostinos are in the
But
One
I-
day you'll learn how to talk to a
He's
woman in real
using
life.
his talents for the wrong things. He could be a
He
comedian.
could be funny,
you
man.
could be doing this
you could
right
be out
now.
here making these girls laugh instead of trying
Instead
to
of trolling
assault
me.
them online.
You know, now I took your
Go
joke,
find an open
and
mic,
I'm gonna
bro.
monetize it.
Go find an
you
open
need to
mic.
work smarter, not harder. But that was really, really good.
No, that is-
I like a good insult.
Find an
I
open
can
mic guy.
appreciate
You got talent. Using it for the wrong.
I appreciate the
reasons.
creativity.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
With great power comes great
Here's the thing,
responsibility, man.
I can appreciate a racist joke.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Yeah.
If it's good.
the
Okay,
creativity
if it's
has
good.
to land, right?
If it's
You
good.
got to have certain nuances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And if
just
it's
like some-
original too. If I've heard it a
Original.
million
I-
times,
Duncan's
it's
pretty
like
original.
yeah.
I'm not even offended because it's so boring.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean? Like if you get creative and I gotta think about, I'm like, damn,
That's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
All right, guys. So we will end it on that. I want to say thank y'all so much for coming to my podcast. I appreciate y'all making time out of your very busy schedule, President, and out of your very busy schedule as being my husband. I know it's a full-time job. Y'all are so much fun. I know you're my husband's best friend, but I consider you a really good friend of mine as well. And I just love and appreciate y'all both. And y'all will most definitely be coming back so we can finish talking about Iran. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode. And come back next week for more.
Spread peace in the world
And spread peace.
and love of God.
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow.
All right.